Americans trusted Fox News, 10% points more than any other network, and CNN was behind with 39%. And there was a huge partisan split with 74% of Republicans saying that they trusted Fox, while only 30% said that Democrats did. So what do you guys think about these numbers? Do you agree with them?
I'm fairly surprised. I would actually not have ever chosen Fox News to be the most trusted name of news, especially because of all the publicity they get for not being accurate. Like of any news station that you read about the most, when people argue how accurate are they, how biased are they, it's always about Fox News. Even though MSNBC might be very biased, you don't ever really hear that much about MSNBC being as biased as it is.
I was kind of shocked, but then if you go and look at the ratings for the two networks, CNN and Fox respectively, Fox crushes at every time slot. It's literally between 3.5 and 4 times more viewers. Across all ages, that is. So the more people watch it, people aren't going to watch a news network that they don't trust. So,
it's a cash cow for News Corp.
Right.
And I think a big difference is between CNN and Fox News is, who's watching news?
Exactly.
Elderly people. And elderly people don't want to look at Twitter and see who people, because CNN turns the camera at another television so you can watch a TV on TV and see Twitter things on Rick's List or whatever that show's called. I don't really care for Rick Sanchez.
And also, the people who are watching Fox News completely agree. Whether Fox News is biased or not, they would completely agree with what Fox News is showing them.
Yeah, but I just thought it was weird, the party split. The 74% of Republicans thought Fox News was trustworthy, and 30% of Democrats thought it was. I'm not surprised.
I'm surprised it got 30%.
Yeah, I was surprised by the 30. The 74 didn't surprise me. But the one thing I want to ask you guys is, what does this say about the shift from 15, 20 years ago when people would trust network news, and now people are trusting cable news? Because NBC was the highest rated network, but they were way below CNN.
It was like 32%.
Yeah. So what does that say to you guys? Does anyone else find that shocking?
It's a shift for convenience. It's just, I don't necessarily think it's I think it's more about who do you think of when you think of news. The networks are failing. You don't think of TV, really. When you think of your favorite shows, how many of them are on a network? So I just think the networks in general are just kind of dying off in popularity, and it's really shifting to cable.
But what does that mean with trustworthiness, though?
I don't know. I think that you trust whoever you watch the most.
I guess that makes sense.
And if you don't have the ability, you would have to have a 30-minute block clear every day to trust network news.
Yeah, and CNN and Fox are just there constantly giving you information whenever you need it.
I think the most trusted news source is the Jim Lear News Hour on PBS. But can you stomach the boredom? No. And can you have that hour free every day? No. But it's by far the most accurate.
One thing I'd like to throw in and take this in a different direction is I think newspapers do the best job of covering the news more than cable television.
Well, there's certainly, when you talk about the fourth estate, that whole idea that there's this unofficial fourth branch of government that keeps the government in check, it's hands down newspapers. I don't think when you watch TV news, it's either fluff or it's really, it's too shallow. Well, they only have a minute and a half. The average news package is a minute and a half, and they only have a minute and a half to give you all this information, which they can't do. They can't go in depth.
Unfortunately, that medium is dying out, though.
Yes, it is. Yeah. With the internet, and it's just crushing these
Well, you've got these moves, both the New York Times and all News Corp content is all going to have to be paid for.
Yep.
So I think that's a positive move. For our next topic, we are going to go ahead and talk about, there's been the line item veto. And for those who don't know what this is, it gives the ability to the U.S. president to pick something out of a bill that Congress has passed that he doesn't like and veto just that while letting the rest of the bill go through. And it's been brought back up by Paul Ryan, a representative from Wisconsin, Senator Feingold I believe he's also Wisconsin, and then Senator John McCain. And Feingold and McCain are, of course, very well known for all their campaign reform, which was just ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court a couple of weeks ago. But they want to bring it back. And they're going to try and bring back a limited version so that President Obama can line item veto all unnecessary spending, or at least spending he deems unnecessary. So what do you guys think about this expansion of presidential power?
Absolutely not. Completely don't like it at all. The Constitution explicitly states that a bill starts in Congress and then goes to the president. And it has to be ratified by both Congress and the president. So if they ratify a bill in Congress and give it to the president, and then he knocks some stuff off, that's not the same bill. It's not the same bill, and he's not authorizing the same thing. I think it's a completely wrong expansion of the presidential powers.
I agree 100%. This is giving the president way too much power. When the founding fathers wrote the Constitution, they had absolutely no idea the president's power was going to be this vast, and we do not need to give the president another power such as the line item veto. Absolutely not.
Now, what do you guys say then? Because there would be people who had argued to that giving him this would improve the efficiency of the government.
I don't care.
And that's a constant complaint by everyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a fair argument to me. I'm a very stern believer in balance of power. I really like the way that our system is set up to balance the three.
Well, it's designed to be slow.
Yeah, I mean, the speed is annoying and frustrating, but I'd rather be slow and lawful than fast and unconstitutional.
Yeah, because we came branched off from England, and we wanted to get away from the king, and the king. This type of power would be just like having a king. It'd just be way too much power for one person. It's supposed to check and balance the president and be equal through all the branches of government. And with this amount of power, it would be like having a king.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree.
Well, I think I know your answer to this next question, but I at least have to bring it up. Under George W. Bush's administration, they invented, because, people, Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney, people from the Nixon days, which is one of the most expansive periods for presidential power, remembered a lot of the old tricks. And so similar things happened under the Bush administration, but they invented, well, I don't know if they invented it, but they used what are called signing statements. And how they work is he writes his interpretation of the law, and he can ignore aspects. So it's an unofficial line item veto that the Supreme Court has yet to rule on, because, the Bush administration is just a year out of office.
So the Bush administration does it, so we should all do it, right?
Yeah, that just sounds sketchy all around.
That's more reason not to do it.
Okay, good. I'm in agreement, but I wanted to bring up all these other points.
I think we said it well enough. I just think that there's already too much presidential power.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have some. Oh, sorry. Did you have something?
I was just going to say, if he has this power, the Congress would just be giving him a draft of something and like an outline, and then the president would write the law and then put it into effect and enforce it.
It's certainly a massive expanse of the executive branch, which I don't think we can risk allowing to happen, because, it's that whole slippery slope. Once one thing goes, much more can follow. So we'll be back right after these announcements with Dennis Roseman, the chairman of the Johnson County Democratic Party.